Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Dave.
It's the Main Street Electrical
Podcast.
Welcome back to mid-January. People tell me all the time, January goes so slow, and I'm like, it's the middle of January already, and we're here.
Inaccurate.
We got 49, 50 weeks left in the year.
On a throne of lies.
Christmas is only 11 and a half months away, so, it's coming fast.
Well, I don't know that Christmas is coming fast, but January's flying.
As will the year be. The year will be
although the weeks
by.
are somehow lasting like a month, so I'm not sure how this really works.
I had my child alone for the 3 straight days because my wife was up with her parents, and so I can tell you all about moving slow. Speaking of slow, just kidding. Let's bring on our guest, a good friend of mine, a recent friend of mine, but we've hit it off quite well. Videographer extraordinaire, musician, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the getup he has in the back. That's all real stuff. That's not a wallpaper or anything. Mr. Derek Frank. Hey, Derek, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely, it's gonna be exciting. Now we have to ask you, how did you Disney this week?
And every day is Disney for me. So I'm sitting here wearing, of course, Star Wars shirt. My whole recording studio here is all Star Wars themed.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing that I started with today, because yesterday was basically a day off being a holiday, is I've got my oil diffuser with the I've got the Flights of Passage scent.
Oh, good
nice.
one.
Yeah. So it just gets my week charged up.
As you walk through the studio, Sivako!
And fly.
That's right. So I can podcast.
Yeah.
Jen, how'd you Disney this week?
Well, I am Disneying currently by wearing my Walt Disney World shirt. I think this one's still in the parks, actually. I got it like a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm trying to think of something different other than just how I'm always repping Disney, but
booking trips and
booking trips.
Yep.
I did do a little bit of work for the February trip for personal stuff, which is shocking because me taking care of personal anything for one of my trips is it's shocking
because we're our own worst travel agents. And so
literally, it's like, oh yeah, I should figure that out. Okay.
Derek, is it that way with musicians? Like, are you your own worst producer? If you're doing something for yourself, like not for something, a project of your very own, not for display or whatever, is it just something like you just have to make yourself do it because you're so used to doing stuff for other people?
Yeah, and a lot of times I'll have someone else do it because I get to that point. Like, I think the worst thing that ever happened, during the pandemic, I was streaming on Twitch I was making a new album live. And it was a colossal failure.
Brave.
Yeah, it was horrible. And one night, after 73 takes on one 15-second guitar solo, I slapped the camera and turned it off and stopped doing it. That was the last one I ever did.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like me in every Instagram reel ever. And I'm like, you're like doing making albums. I'm over there in reels going, how do I add this caption? Why won't the caption stay up?
Hey, the album never got done. That was
really
that was the end of it. I was so frustrated.
I will say, just speaking as a musician, there are sometimes things and you're like, yeah, this just isn't getting better, and I'm done with it. Like after 73 takes, I think I'd be like, yeah, this is just nope. Yeah, not doing it.
It was bad. I rage quit for sure.
See, here's what happened though. Guns N' Roses did that with the Spaghetti Incident album. Oh no, Chinese Democracy album. And they came back with it 20 years later, and it was a mild success for their fans. You can do that 20 years from now, bringing it back, and it's the whole hype thing. And by that time, Slash and Axel both will be looking for work. I'm sure you could probably bring them into the studio to finish up.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
Isn't Axel already looking for work?
Probably. He's not looking for lunch. Let me just say that right now. That was me. Anyway, so this weekend, of course, like I said, I had my kids. So we go out and about. We go traveling around, visiting Targets and Walmarts. He loves just kind of looking at everything. He's been in Walmart since he was like 2 weeks old. He just dazzled by all of the stuff on the shelves. And so we went into a boxed lunch, and I finally bought the sweatshirt that I wanted, which is, you can hardly see, here it is. Infinity
that
cones
is that
from
the
Thor:
Fat
Love and
Thor?
Thunder. Not a good movie, but it's Infinity Cones, which you see at the very beginning of the movie, and it's just kind of at least something really good came from that. Came from just an okay movie. So I've been repping the shirt, and of course, like Jen, been doing the trips and stuff like that, and trying to get stuff ready for my own cruise, which is coming in early February, and I'm terrible because I got an email this morning. I got to look at that because I'm sure Disney's wanting to know stuff from me that I need to get on pretty fast.
Yeah, probably.
So we don't have a lot of news to jump into, but I did want to mention this. Belle is making her return to Magic Kingdom. Announced this morning she will be coming back to Enchanted Tales with Belle, that wonderful little show where you go in and they get people from the audience coming out and doing knights and horses and beast and candlesticks and
That
everything
popped
else.
up on
And
my
so,
time hop this morning, actually.
fun time, like from a couple of years ago when you
Yeah,
when you went.
well, yeah, from back when it was open,
I feel like you would make a fantastic Belle, and even though they don't actually
Thank
give that
you.
part away, you could
They
probably
don't.
wedge your way in there and be like, "Let me just be Belle." It's
Like,
fine.
excuse me, I've got this. I just need you to just
I love watching the show itself just because they have the kids be beast and they have the kids be the main parts. I've
So
been a
cute.
knight. I've been a
Brady's been a
horse.
knight.
I have been a plate, just kind of holding the plate up and moving it back and forth like a steering wheel. Derek, have you ever seen the show? Have you ever done the show?
I have
Enchanted Tales
not
with Belle?
done that show.
It's so great. It's so
So
great. I
cute.
would probably take somebody with you, so you're not just like a 30-something-year-old guy just sitting in there watching a bunch of kids, play Beauty and the Beast.
fine.
But just in case. But no, it's a fun show. It really is a fun little show. Also opening up, and actually Belle is coming back on February the 19th. Also coming back, Ariel's Grotto will be reopened on January 22nd, which is next week. I think Jen, you and I talked about that last week. I think wondering if it was open or not.
No, we
Couldn't
literally were like, I
remember.
mean, you would think that'd be kind of easy to bring back, and like
Mhm.
that would, I know people would really like it, and lo and behold, look at that. Look at
I kind of like this though. I kind of like this little bit of like every week we get some little something. Last week, of course, we got a flood, which
We
is
got a lot,
last week's
yeah,
entire
well.
episode of news. But it's like, hey, new openings. And maybe next Monday they'll be like, hey, guess what? The dining plan. And the next week will be
Bob, you're
something
welcome
small,
for
like,
the ideas.
yeah,
You're welcome.
You know what? We're here. We're here for you. Quasi-producer Heather and I went through a whole list of how to set up the new Villains Park. So we've got that set up. And honestly, you do Main Street Electrical Podcast. You've got your entire Disney World future set for the next 15 years. We're good. We're good.
Why do you have the castle behind you? The candy castle, the birthday
It was what
cake.
was up.
It was a
up,
great
recently.
castle.
Oh, it was
I'm a
great. I
lover of
loved
it.
I
You're
loved it.
okay, so you're an
Yeah.
apologist. You're a
Yeah.
birthday castle apologist.
Yeah.
Got it.
I absolutely loved it because I saw it in person. So
So did
See,
I.
I
remember
didn't see
seeing
that one in person.
oh, I loved it. It was so
That
great
was-
in person.
Oh.
I went when I was 7, and I don't remember the trip at all. I never remember being 7 years old, and I think I told Jen this. I remember thinking because Epcot Epcot was not open, and Spaceship Earth was still being built, and I thought the entire park was in that ball because I was 7. I was dumb. I didn't know.
Reasonable.
And so, but I don't remember the castle. So really, this cake castle, when I went in the mid-90s, was the second time I'd ever been to Magic Kingdom. That's the first castle that I remember. I
Oh,
don't remember
wow.
the blue and white castle. I remember this one. And so little.
Okay, so Derek, did you also see the Stitch toilet paper castle?
No, I don't think I saw that one. But I remember seeing the giant sorcerer's hat at
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood
Yep,
Studios
Hollywood
when it was
Studios.
still
Oh, yeah.
MGM.
Mhm.
So yeah, there were some things that I've seen throughout the years, but I didn't see the Stitch. It
I didn't
was
see
like
that one
toilet
either.
paper and stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, people were really ticked about that. Apparently, I mean, I just kind of read about it after the fact, but
I don't like. I remember seeing pictures, but I don't remember the era of Stitch in the toilet paper. Like, what was that celebrating? What was that supposed to be? What was that about? Do you remember?
626 day? Was it?
It
Possible,
could've
which is
been.
Stitch Day, obviously, but I
They
don't know if it
keep-
was.
They keep trying to push Lilo and Stitch, and like it's just not one of my jams. It's like
I,
reminds me of Mean Girls. Quit trying to make Stitch happen. Like
Well, Stitch has already
mean,
happened. That's the thing.
Stitch is popular, but like okay, let's let it go.
but I feel like there's like a population of people where
Mhm.
Stitch is very popular, and then
Right.
there's a population of people where people are like, yeah, no.
Well, it's the same way that they created when Walt created Donald and Goofy. He was able to do things with those characters that he couldn't do with Mickey. Like he couldn't
Right.
make Mickey be angry, so he created Donald. He didn't want to make Mickey be
Mhm.
stupid and goofy and weird, so he created
Yeah.
Goofy. And I feel like Stitch is that character that you can kind of put in any character, any situation.
Right.
It's Stitch. He's just all over the place,
Yeah,
whatever. And so I feel like it's a lean-to character.
Big timeout. Breaking news. Breaking news. Just
Yes.
got it.
Uh-huh.
Magic Key program is beginning new sales.
Oh, Disneyland. Is that right?
Disneyland. Yep.
Yes,
this
Disneyland.
just
Disneyland.
popped through. I just got a notification.
Had it been
So
Disney World, we would have paused the entire show.
we
and I would've gone
probably
online
would
immediately
have
and be
because
like,
David
annual
needs
pass.
to go get his annual pass. But this is Magic Key Disneyland. So
Disneyland.
breaking news.
Yes, that's a big deal. And by the time you hear this, they may have already closed them because I
I
think
mean,
they
that's-
tried to open it up earlier and it just shut down so fast because people were getting
Yeah.
them. But yeah, and Disneyland, of course, is doing one of the things they announced last week, which we didn't really touch on, but they're basically opening up more days where you have the lowest priced ticket. So it's not as if they're dropping ticket prices, but that $104 ticket price, which is the lowest ticket price you're going to find at Disneyland, now they're having more days when that is available, which is kind of, for Disney, that's kind of a price drop, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. Derek, do you get at Disneyland very much, or is Disney World just kind of
I used to go once a year when I would go out to NAMM, which is the big music trade show in Anaheim. And we always stayed at the hotel, and I've requested like the hotel that overlooked the park. So I'd be so depressed because I'd be at NAMM for 18 hours a day. And then one night I would just sneak away and I would just go to the parks. It'd be great. But we'll see it. You know, NAMM's pushed back to like June this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
weird.
Well, I wanted to have Derek on because I know, Derek, you're good friends with Ryan and Katrin and the I Am Geek guys. You've been on the show a couple times, and I heard the show last time. And of course, you're one of the ones responsible for living with the light speeder. Lightspeeder with I can't remember the name of it, but it's the light speeder.
Land speeder.
That's it. Living with the land speeder.
There it is.
Light speeder. What is that? Living with the land speeder, which we got to get some shirts. Which I think is fantastic and hilarious. And so I thought it'd be fun to have you on because you are such a Disney guy. You love Disney. Your videos are amazing, and we're gonna give the links and stuff later on to your YouTube stuff. But your YouTube stuff is amazing. And you look at I look at that, and I'm like, I could never do that. Which eventually you all can. We just have to learn how to do it. That's the whole thing. So I want to ask you first of all, kind of your Disney story. How did you get involved with Disney so much? How did you get to? Like, I know you love doing Disney video and Disney photography. How did that all come about? Where'd you become such a fan?
Well, you know, my wife and I are those childless millennials that love to go to Disney, and it's, you know, it's one of those things. But mine started, I was 6 years old, and my parents put my brother, who was 11 at the time, and I on a plane by ourselves and flew us down to Florida. This is when you could still do that.
Wow. Right.
You know, this would have been like 1990, and flew us down to meet our aunt and uncle who lived in Miami. And they took us to the parks for the first time. And it was, you know, it was this crazy trip. And now you look back like, you can't just put your kids on a plane. So that kind of started it. But then we hadn't gone in a long time. And we ended up going one year because, you know, not to be a sob story, my mom had cancer, which she's more than fine now. But it was our escape for a week. Like for 1 week, we got to forget that my mom was sick. And we went like 3 years in a row. And that was when the whole family just got stuck on Disney, because when you get out of that, your own world, and you get to forget about those things that are bothering you, it's amazing. So when people ask me now, why do you and your wife spend so many vacations there and so much money? Like, you don't have kids. Why do you go? Like, because every time I'm there, it reminds me that I'm there for a week and no other problems are there.
Right.
I love
That's one of the reasons I love Disney World so much, because you are in a world. It's, I mean, Disneyland is great, but you know, we'll stay kind of on Harbor Boulevard there in front, maybe not at the Disneyland hotels in those areas. And so you have to walk down the street and you see a lot of the world before you go into actual Disneyland. With Disney World, though, we get on property and you're just immersed. And my wife is very big on, it's fine if you want to check headlines and stuff, but I don't want you watching the news. I don't want you reading, you know, the newspapers online. I don't want you catching up with the news. If it's really big, we'll hear about it. Otherwise, just don't do that. And I try to heed that. I mean, still, I'm like looking for scores and stuff, but beyond that, I try to not worry about what's happening with the president or, you know, the government or politics or taxes, or whatever. None of that. And so it is just a great escape of just escapism is a big deal. And I think we forget about how important that is, especially in the last few years. You need that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So also, I know that you are big on videography. I know you're big on photography and music and everything. Kind of wrap that up a little bit to kind of where all of that stems from, and then we'll kind of tie the two together.
I think the video stuff came from Disney, and and that's what's so weird. And I'm not just making that up because it's a, you know, Disney focused podcast. But on that first trip I went with my aunt and uncle, they had their camera with them. I still have that VHS.
Wow.
And so I would go through and watch that movie. I watched that movie so much, I can't believe the tape still worked.
Wow.
And then when my family went, we bought a camera just to shoot. And so then we ended up having this camera and, you know, upgrading throughout the years. And all through high school, I had a camera attached to my hand everywhere I was going. And then even in college, and then bands playing. So I always had footage of stuff. But it wasn't until really the pandemic hit that my video skills got, you know, started growing, because I had a studio here in Nashville that was outside of my house, and a friend of mine had this really good YouTube channel, and he did a tour of the studio, and it blew up. It went viral. And so all these people are like, "Well, how did you build this in your studio? How'd you build that?" And my YouTube channel got flooded. Well, the only video I had on my YouTube channel was the music video I put out when I was still touring as a musician. And so I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll make some videos on how I built some of the stuff." And they're horrible quality, but still to this day, they're getting like anywhere from 100 to 300 views a day. And
Wow,
that's 2 years
awesome.
later or a year and a half later. And so I just got better and started taking some classes online and watching every YouTube video I could find about how to get better at video. And it's built from there. So I do a little bit of like how to with studio stuff, gear review, and then of course Disney vlogs.
Yeah, your Disney vlogs are fantastic, and we'll definitely, like I said, we'll link to that on the show notes, and at the end of the show, we'll
Yeah.
talk about that. But your Disney vlogs are great, and it's very personable. And I've actually been in a couple because you did some when we
Yes.
were doing the
Oh.
VIP tour. Derek and I were a part of the
Yeah.
tour that did the VIP tour in
Nice.
November, which was a lot of fun. And there's Derek just talking to the camera with his stick, just chatting away and blah blah blah. And I do want to preface this though to the audience listening, as we talk about photography and video and stuff through this episode. We're not going to ask you to do anything illegal. Do not climb into the fountain for that perfect picture.
No.
That cucumber is not worth it. Don't do that. I mean, like, if it gets you banned from the park, that is on you, not us.
That is a bad idea. Don't
That is
do
a
that.
bad
That's a
idea.
pet
Matter
peeve of mine. Like there's some big vloggers and somebody who was a Disney vlogger then got kicked out. Now he is
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
I don't like that stuff. Like I really respect the cast and the rules
right.
and yeah, just don't do
That's
that stuff.
important.
Yeah.
That's extremely important. You have to respect. I mean, because number one, those rules are in place for a reason. It's
Right.
dangerous for you or somebody else, if you break those rules. And also, just you
Right.
have to respect the magic. You have to
Yeah.
respect the magic.
Well, and we had, and I won't say who it was, and I'll tell you off air if you want to know,
Yeah.
but we had a popular Disney vlogger. We were at an after hours event at Magic Kingdom, and we're getting our picture taken from the castle, and he comes up and like hugs me. I've never met the guy. He like just to do it. He's a shock value kind of person, and he like starts touching me, and like I didn't know who it was, and so I shoved him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just doing this for my YouTube video," and I'm like, I don't. Like go away, go shoo. So
don't know
if
you.
if you're going to be filming or taking pictures, like be respectful of guests too, not just the cast, but be respectful of other people because don't ruin their magic just because you want to get a shot for your channel.
Right.
And also, let me just say this. If you are somebody listening to this going, I do what I want, do what you want. That's fine. If you decide to sneak back somewhere, take pictures or take video of something you shouldn't, don't be stupid enough to put it online. You get everything you deserve by putting it on TikTok. Look at me. I'm going to drink the water from every fountain at Disney Springs and in the parks. And now I'm upset because I put it online and I got in trouble. No, that's dumb. That is dumb. And I always assume somebody else is filming as well because
that's
people,
always a good assumption.
People have video cameras out even when you don't know they're doing. And maybe they're not filming you, but they'll have you in the back of their frame filming.
You
something
don't
else
know
going,
though.
Look at this guy. What is he doing? So just be careful, be cautious, when you're filming. So I thought this would be fun to kind of talk. Maybe we'll go quickly park through park. Some of our favorite spots for pictures and videos and stuff. And I'm more picture than video. I'm still learning the video stuff. And then I do want Derek will kind of give us some tips and everything, some tips and tricks towards the end of you out there who want to do video in the park, how to, what to do, that kind of thing. But Jen, let's talk about Magic Kingdom first. What are obviously the castle? Let's talk. Everybody loves the castle. Stand in front of the castle. Look, it's the castle. Blah, blah, blah. What other spots in Magic Kingdom you're like, I love getting pictures of this, whether you're in it, whether it's just the scene and whatever? What are spots that you just love getting pictures of videos of?
I love going over to Tom Sawyer Island, and they have that one bridge area that overlook. You can see Big Thunder really, really well, and you can get fantastic shots back there. Like if you can time it with like the train coming. Oh, I love that. That's a hidden gem, I feel like, because that I just shared with everybody.
Oh, there you go. One of my favorite things to do, and I have a brand new phone. It's an iPhone 14. I up from my 8, which my 8 was great. It served me so well for the last couple of years, but now I have a 14, slight upgrade. And I'm so excited about this little triple camera going on there in the back. I'm so excited about the pictures I'm going to be able to take, because one of my favorite things to do, and this is so cheesy, is take reflection shots of the castle. And like if you're walking through like fancy behind the castle where it's rained or maybe they've washed off the sidewalk, you'll have puddles there, like especially in front of PhilharMagic. And if you can get it just right, you can get the reflection of the PhilharMagic sign and the castle in that puddle. And I just think it's such a cool shot. A little cheesy, but I take that picture and I'm like, look at me, I'm a photographer. This is awesome. I mean, just I love those kind of shots. Derek, what are some of your favorite spots in Magic Kingdom that just you're like, I gotta get a picture of this. This is great.
My favorite spot is right off of the bridge by Sleepy Hollow, and like where they actually have tables. They used to keep. Sometimes they would have a photo pass photographer there, but you can get a beautiful shot of the castle with some of the trees and the water. And hardly anybody's over there. And especially now that they expanded the walkway there, you don't have any problems getting a great shot in front of the castle that no one else is in front of. Like, you don't have to dodge people.
Do a lot, or I will take my camera and my phone and I will just kind of rest it on the rail, holding onto it tightly because there's water down there, and just video for like a minute, and just especially during the holidays when they have the projections with the wrapping paper and it's all changing and stuff like that. It's such a cool like little video of just the castle just moving and the water rippling, and it's good stuff. I'm also a big fan, like Jen said, of Big Thunder, taking pictures over there as well. And I do this, and I'm going to caution everybody that if you do this, you're on your own. I have a death grip on my camera, but I will hold my phone up on my shoulder and take pictures over my shoulder, especially if my kid's behind me in the car, because I might take 75 pictures, but I might get one or two with him looking in my direction with a huge smile on his face. I've got one picture of him and his grandfather together, and they're both grinning at each other on Big Thunder, and it's priceless that I never would have gotten had I not done that. Again, you do your own thing with your phone, be cautious, but because it's death grip. I'm like, if I lose this, I will just it'll be awful. But anything else, Jen, Magic Kingdom? Any other spots you're thinking?
I mean, the whole thing is so photogenic, honestly. I mean, I love that whole area. But I mean, in terms of other things, I mean, the wishing well. There is the wishing well. I mean, come on. I know it's by the castle, but it's so cool.
Derek, any other favorite spots in Magic Kingdom?
I think the Rapunzel bathroom, if there's not a lot of people around there, like at night when it's all lit up, is a really cool spot.
Very cool. Animal Kingdom. Pandora at night is fantastic, especially if you've got a good camera. It's one of those things where it's a different experience at night because of the bioluminescence. I mean, it's glow paint, but still, it looks so cool. The atmosphere that you're in, it's amazing. And you've got the different colored lights and everything on the floating mountains and the waterfall. And it's just, any of that to me is just picture worthy of just taking cool pictures. I mean, of just all kinds of scenes and things like that. And so, Derek, what are your shots at Animal Kingdom that you think you really love getting?
I'd like the backside of the Tree of Life, like looking towards the front of the park.
Nice.
It's a really good spot. That and the back bridge. I like bridges. So the bridge going into Africa from Pandora. There's a lot of great spots to get shots there.
I love that, because people always go to the Tree of Life and they want to get pictures and of the floating mountains, the big things, but they don't think about those little cubbies and those little spots just kind of off the path. Like, ooh, let's get a picture here. Jen, what do you love about Animal Kingdom and taking pictures?
Oh gosh, I mean, it is so photogenic there anyway, because you have like the animals and the different trails, and there's a lot. But probably two. One is again, I guess it's a bridge area. You're passing the monkeys, and you can see Everest, like into Asia. There's just like a beautiful, and sometimes. It must have been evening. There were fireworks going off, obviously not in Animal Kingdom, because they do not do fireworks in Animal Kingdom. So it had to have been one of the parks that you could see in the distance somehow. There was a reason at that point. I was like, oh, that must be blah, blah, blah. But it's been too many years, so I don't remember what it was. But it was so cool because you could see the fireworks up behind. I was like, oh, actually, I was there for an after hours event. That's why I saw it, because it was that had to be it. It was an after hours event with DVC. But that's such a cool shot, daytime or nighttime with Everest. And this is cheesy. Dino Lands. I love to do stupid poses with the fake dinosaurs. There's one that keeps popping up on my time pop. It's like, that time I kissed an iguanodon, and I was like, with the
you were young and impressionable, like 2 years ago, but still.
I was like in my 30s. It's fine. Quit judging judging.
Well, there's a couple of hidden Mickeys too, and I love hidden Mickeys. By the way, I will get a picture of hidden Mickey anywhere I can find one. There's some great hidden Mickeys in Dino Land, including on the dinosaur that has all the little, almost like a mosaic dinosaur. I can't think it's like shells, or whatever. There's a couple on that dinosaur. You just gotta find them.
There's a few.
Pictures of Gertie, especially in the holidays when not Gertie.
What are you talking about?
The skeleton dinosaur, which does that have a name? The skeleton dinosaur as you're walking through Dino Land. But into Dino Land,
I mean, I don't think it has like a name like Gertie has a name. I think it has. I mean, it has like a. Wait, is it Sue?
Is
it?
I don't know.
Sue?
I have no idea. I don't know.
That's a good question.
I mean, we should.
Why
come up
do I
with
have the name
name
Sue in
for it,
my
if not.
head? The
I
name
don't
might
know.
be Sue.
Either
Someone
way,
fact check me.
at Christmas time, they put the lights on it, and so there's a light show on that dinosaur skeleton.
It's awesome.
That I got some video of, and it's fantastic because you never think about it. You walk under it, you go to Dino Land, oh great and everything, but at Christmas, it's got the Santa hat on, and there's like a light show because there's lights all over every bone, and it's really cool how it's all
cool.
lit up and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just neat. Anything else for Animal Kingdom for you guys?
Yeah, if you go into where they have like the shows, like the kite tails and all that, just during the day, there's no one in there, and just you can get a really great view depending on where you're at. You can get different sections of the park, and my big thing is not having people in the background. And you know, now I've got a Google phone, so it'll remove people from the background. But even still, it's like sometimes you can tell. Like I just don't want people in the background.
Like you just want to wait for that perfect shot so that you don't have to
Yeah.
do any editing on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are shots that I think in Epcot. We'll talk about Epcot next. I think that that's one of those parks because I love the monorail. I love the monorail, and I will stand with my phone in hand for like 5 minutes waiting for the right monorail shot to come through. And I've done that before. Last time I was actually in Epcot by myself, I had a position of Spaceship Earth, and I was like, I had just missed the monorail, so I just sat there on a bench waiting and waiting and waiting. And I saw it coming. You get your camera up and your pose. You're like click 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 click, and you're looking through your pictures like, oh, I got one. Trying to get the monorail and Epcot just in the right spot, because obviously Spaceship Earth, it looks like a cartoon when you take a picture of it. It looks like an animated object.
I love it.
And it's just
I love it in the evening. Oh my gosh, with the new beacons of light, points of light.
Love it.
Whatever.
Daytime, nighttime, again, different experience. I am a huge Epcot fan, but there's a lot of spots at Epcot to take pictures. Jen, I know you love Epcot. Where are you loving the pictures and the videos in Epcot?
Okay. I'll start with the hidden one and not the more obvious one. But if nobody mentions the more obvious one, then I will.
Right.
This is up in Canada. If you walk back, and I'm talking up the waterfall back there, people don't even know it's there.
There's no one there.
Nobody there. I mean, you can get killer shots up there. It's so good.
Nice. I don't think I knew there was a waterfall back there. I mean, I have
See,
not chased that
exactly.
waterfall. I've kind of stuck to the rivers and lakes I was used to.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
I've never.
Wow.
Well, you're gonna have it your
TLC.
way or nothing at all, aren't you?
I guess so. I'm just glad I got a little TLC on my knowledge on this, which is nice. And so I'll just
But
have
I
to
think
creep-
you're moving too fast right now.
I'll just have to creep back there. So anyway, deep pull. So, but no, I didn't know that was back there. I do know that the two areas now that kind of have. I love the back area of France, and I think France for me was not even a pavilion that I really went to very much until they put Remy in there. I love that fountain. I
It's so
feel like
pretty.
I've gotten so many pictures of that fountain and the water coming out with little rats with the water coming out with like video walking around it with rats. It's just such a cool picture. And I look at my phone and I type in Ratatouille in my search bar and like 50 pictures comes up and I'm like, I don't know where any of these pictures were taken because they're all the same. There's the fountain, there's the sign, but they all look great because I love that shot.
So good.
And in England, back there in the UK where that little hedge maze is, it's great shots, especially during the holidays or Halloween or whatever. They have it all decorated out, and it's a fun little place where there aren't a lot of people, which is nice because people don't go back there.
Correct.
Anything else for Epcot, Derek? I know there's a lot in Epcot.
Yeah. Definitely coming out of Figment and standing up there because again, not a lot of people. You can overlook a lot of different sections of the park. But then I'm going to go with another bridge, and that's the bridge going into the Africa Outpost. And right where they have, I don't know if it's all the time, maybe it's only during Festival of the Arts, but they have Pumbaa's backside on the bridge painted on there. I love. I've always, if I see it there, but I feel like maybe it's not there all the time.
It's not. I don't think it's there all the time.
Yeah, I think it's just the Festival of the Arts, but I definitely have to get that shot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely there. There's actually another bridge. I know you know about it, but I think it's the one that's near Italy, and especially in the evening, that one could be really pretty if
Yeah.
you go stand up there. And I know the one time we actually took turns with another couple, like, oh, we'll take your picture, you take ours, because there weren't a ton of people up there, so we just traded off and got out of each other's way. Occasionally there's been a photo pass photographer there in the past, but I don't know. I haven't seen him there recently.
Well, one of the hidden gems too about Epcot, well, I can't say hidden gem. A lot of people know about this, but people don't think about it, is the fact that you're walking, towards France. There's the international gateway right there. The Skyliner's right there, which I'm a massive Skyliner fan of anything Skyliner. So I always get pictures and videos of the Skyliner. What I tell my families that go down to Disney World, if it's Epcot, especially families who've been there a lot, so they know where everything is, and you want to take 2 hours to kind of take a break, hop on that boat or hop on the Skyliner and take some pictures, some aerial pictures, some boat
so
pictures,
pretty.
because you go to the resorts, you go to Boardwalk, Yacht and Beach Club, Swan and Dolphin. Skyliner will take you all the way to Riviera and then to, to Caribbean and Pop. You can get some great shots, some great pictures, some great resort pictures. Maybe there's no reason to go to Pop Century, but you hop off there, walk around for 20 minutes, get some great pictures, hop right back on and come back. And you're out of the park for an hour and a half. You've taken a break. It's quieter. It's peaceful. The kids have calmed down, which is nice. And so definitely some great shots there, especially when you're leaving on the Skyliner. You get some great shots of France, especially in the daytime. Or at nighttime when it's lit up, of Ratatouille, of the creperie and the fountains, all that's right there. The Eiffel Tower, all of that is right there. Now we've talked a lot about World Showcase. What about the front of the park? I know in terms of Future World or the neighborhoods or whatever we're calling it now. I don't know what we're calling it.
Weird transitional phase.
Exactly.
You can't go wrong in front of the lands. It's such a cool building, and how it has that incline going up. It's just a really neat classic shot, and they've kept it pretty classic.
Yeah, agreed. And then Imagination Pavilion, if you stand the right way, you can get the monorail coming by Imagination, and in the right light. Oh, that's just a cool shot.
Jen, do we know if they're keeping surely they're keeping the statues, the 50th statues?
I haven't heard anything about them going away, so I can't imagine. I mean, that'd be and with Magic Band Plus, I can't imagine that they're taking those.
Well, one of my favorite pictures I was able to get is the Figment statue. The way it's located, it's on that pathway from Future World to World Showcase. And the monorail track is right behind it. You time it just right. You've got a great picture of the golden statue of Figment with a monorail coming right behind it. My wife actually has a picture, and it's phenomenal. It looks like a postcard. And it's just a matter of just standing there at the right time and just snapping as it comes through. And if you don't get it, then if you've got 20 minutes to spare, wait for the monorail to come back. So,
another good spot at the end of the night when you're leaving. If you go from the lands to the front, so if you're looking at the ball, you're on the left side. And get a nice shot. You can do a selfie and looking up, have your face in there and looking up at the ball, and it's all lit up. It's so cool. It's an easy shot to get because there's really good lighting over there too.
There is really good lighting.
If you want to be really original, stand back from the ball a little bit and kind of hold your arms out so it looks like it's on your shoulders. That's something not a lot of people do. And you can hold your hands up like you're holding the ball up.
I've done that using Tower of Terror with Morocco, where you're holding it, you're doing the Eiffel Tower type thing.
Now, see, that's cool. That's really, really cool. I love it. Speaking of Tower of Terror, let's hop over to Hollywood Studios, where there's so many. I feel like Hollywood is so different.
It's
in all of
so
its aspects.
photogenic.
Star Wars to Toy Story to Sunset Boulevard to Rock and Roller Coaster. All of it is so different.
But Derek, I want to hear you, because the lighting when you enter is so rough. I think.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Hollywood Studios is hard to get a lot of good pictures because of the lighting. It's a really dark park at night, especially. And then during the day, it's really glary. So I don't know what it is with where it's placed, but it's a hard park. But anything in the little lake pond with Gertie.
Yeah, Gertie.
That's
especially Christmas.
Yeah. One of the coolest photos to get at Galaxy's Edge, and you can't do this because it's weird, but if you ask a cast member or something, I'm sure they could help you out. The bathrooms are so cool.
They
are, but maybe don't take a picture. Maybe just get one that Disney provides. Or ask a cast member hey,
I've done that. in Rapunzel's men's bathroom where there was like one other person in there, like at the sink or something. And I actually will announce myself and say, hey, I just want to let you know I'm taking a picture of this wall here, just so you know this is what I'm doing. I just want to make sure you know. He was like, it's cool, man. I was like, I know, but if I walk in here taking pictures and don't tell you what I'm doing, it's weird. Especially if some guy comes in with his kid or something. I'm like, so I took the picture real quick and got out of there. So I think, go in there when it's not that busy. If you can find a time when it's not that busy, maybe one or two other people, or it's empty. Or have a family member stand at the front and say, you know what, somebody puked in there, don't go in there, and you got all the time in the world.
Gosh, David.
Take a picture.
You said no breaking rules. Well, that might
that's true. No breaking rules.
That might not be a broken rule, but
that's a gray area.
I mean, I didn't see it anywhere in the policies on Disney World that you can't tell people you puked when you did. Anyway,
well, I love at Galaxy's Edge to like basically get my phone on the ground aimed up at the Falcon, and that makes a super cool angle. Now, the full disclosure, I didn't come up with that. Someone showed me, it's like, oh, that's cool, I'm gonna do that. So you could,
one of the worst, and I think I told this story, I don't think Derek's heard it, but one of the worst Falcon moments I've had is when I walked around the corner of Galaxy's Edge and Star Wars, and there was the Falcon, and there was nobody there. Like nobody was in the Falcon except for one lady talking on her phone, standing right near the front. Like there was nobody there, and I'm like, this would be there's nobody in my picture except for this one lady.
And she had no idea.
She's not taking pictures. She's not looking at stuff, whatever. She's not like, and I would almost forgive it if she's like looking up close, pointing out, like, look at this, look at that, it's amazing. She's just talking on her phone, not facing off the distance or whatever. And by the time she finally moved, 4 or 5 other people had moved in, and suddenly the picture moment was gone. And I'm like, because I don't have the fancy app where you can take off the back, take off somebody out of the photo. And I'm like, oh, this would have been perfect. Now it's not. No, it's not. I love the Crossroads of the World, the Mickey globe at the very beginning. I think that is such a little cool photogenic shot to get, especially if you can get the right sky behind it, blue sky or even a gray sky. It looks cool because when you filter your pictures a little bit, it really highlights and stuff. And too, of course, Tower is great. Everybody loves doing the rock star stuff, with the fingers and everything in front of the guitar at Rock and Roller Coaster. I've seen so many pictures of that. So, yeah, Derek, anything? Let's talk about Toy Story Land. What do you love about Toy Story Land?
I mean, the theming's great. It's just so small.
Yeah.
It's so small, and like, it's so close to being amazing. I think it's just the space. I think and they have space to expand it, but on I Am Geek, I talked about how I want to turn all of Hollywood studios into just Star Wars. They could retheme everything. It's all right there, and just be Star Wars. People are like, well, what about Toy Story? And I'm like, move it, like put it somewhere else,
or make that a like Kennerland. And all the Toy Story figures become Star Wars action figures, and you've got a Luke Skywalker with a lightsaber in his arm sticking out, and like all the characters that walk around are all like kind of disjointed and kind of stiff because they're the actual action figure character. See, I think that could work.
Hey, I've been petitioning that and I love Sci-Fi Dining. It's one of my favorite restaurants on all the parks.
Yep,
but
so good.
Change that to George Lucas and American Graffiti, and then the screen plays all of his movies. You don't have to retheme anything.
Just do you know? People would love that, actually.
Yeah, I'd pay double to eat in there.
Don't they have Mel's Dine-In though over at Universal? Like, isn't that themed towards that, or is that? I know Mel's Dine-In is in American Graffiti, but I don't know if Mel's was a traditional spot outside of that movie.
Is it?
I know so I know that Mel's Dine-In is in American Graffiti, and I know that it is in Universal Studios.
But
I know,
but is it supposed to be the same one? That's what I don't know.
That I don't know. But I love American Graffiti. I love that movie. It was one of my first quote unquote favorite movies when I was a kid and a teenager.
Back in when they used to do the Star Wars weekends, they would flip sci-fi into a Star Wars character thing, and it worked.
Yep.
It totally worked.
Right there at the entrance. Like, they could just continue. And I said, leave. I know we're kind of going down a rabbit hole, but
that's
leave
okay.
Muppets there. Muppets have done so many Star Wars parodies.
Muppets in space. Easy.
Revamp it to Muppet Star Wars. They have the posters on the outside, because sometimes when the queue gets too long for Rise, you have to go on the outside where they used to have a queue, and you can see those old posters. I mean,
that's true.
It's easy, and just start theming everything forward.
Except for
I
Tower,
like it.
because I love
Well,
Tower.
even if you just stopped it on that corner though, because you have Star Tours,
Yeah,
and
true.
and Star Tours
Yep.
can take you into Galaxy's Edge, kind of
Okay,
that
I
that
like where you're going with
flow,
this.
and yeah, and baseline could. I love baseline, but it could be
It-
something else, Star
could
Wars
be-
themed.
We could get starring roles back. I miss starring roles.
Yeah.
That's just sorry. That was just a random
And
aside.
somewhere
I
in
missed
there,
it.
we
They used to
have
have a
put it-
Darth Vader cupcake. They had like yeah.
I remember that. I do remember
So
that.
good.
So good.
Somewhere in there, we are primed to put a Dexter Jetster a diner in there somewhere, some way, somehow.
yeah.
It could be easy. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you could have the character with the 6 arms walking around with a greasy T-shirt and a cigar, but
Put in the
still.
ABC commissary. No one cares about
Nobody,
that.
yeah,
anyways.
nobody.
Hey,
cares
oh,
about
let's
ABC
make
content.
that. Let's make that Star
Yeah.
Wars.
I mean,
Absolutely.
as I progressively gotten older, the more I walk down that aisleway, I see the posters for the shows, and there are fewer and fewer shows I even recognize anymore. I'm like, I don't even know what these shows are, and they're like, come watch this show 7:30 on Tuesday. I'm like, I don't. What is that? That is anymore. I miss Home Improvement and Roseanne. And
Oh, I
those
remember
shows.
when they had those shows where
Yeah.
Frozen is. My dad got picked as Al Borland one year, so
No
Ah,
way.
nice.
so awesome. It was
Oh,
so
that's
cool.
so cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
We came very close to being picked on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the game. When we walked in, we didn't really know how to do it, and so we finally figured it out. I think where Frozen is now. Of course,
Yeah.
we did Sounds Dangerous with Drew Carey. That was always fun back in the
That was-
day of Disney MGM Hollywood or MGM Studios.
MGM
So-
Studios.
So, a question, Derek, for you. I know that you're a Star Wars fan.
Damn.
Do you think, like in terms of rethinking some of the parks, and obviously that may or may not be
Mhm.
a pipe dream, we'll see, but would they be able to theme it to the old school characters, or do they have to keep going forward with all the new stuff? And because my theory on this is I don't think they realize, I feel like they thought that the sequel trilogy would be much more popular and much more resonating than it is now, because nobody likes Rise of Skywalker. And so but they based everything in Galaxy's Edge on that time era, and now it's almost like, what do? You can't really go forward with that storyline because nobody cares.
Well,
So-
it's really simple, and I think they're going to open it up with Ahsoka with the new
Mhm.
series, and
Yep.
that is
Mm.
because it happened in Rebels already, where they have this like multiverse thing.
Yep.
And I'm going into my Star Wars nerdiness.
Hey,
So
do it. Let's do it.
I think that Ahsoka is going to open up more of that. Ezra Bridges is going to be there, or Bridger, and so you're going to have these characters, and all they have to do is open up that multiverse, and any of the characters can be in Galaxy's Edge. No
Right.
one's going to complain if I see like new Boba Fett and Darth Vader. I don't care.
Right.
I just want to see him.
No,
I
nobody's gonna
just
care.
want to see him. It's not going to lose anything. Now, I will say the book, Black Spire Outpost, was
Mhm.
incredible. And if you
Oh.
haven't read it, it's also an audiobook. I think anybody that's a fan of Galaxy's Edge needs to read that book, because like knowing who Vi is and why she's out there,
Mm.
that really painted a bigger picture for me of
I
like,
think I have the graphic novel to that. I don't think I've read it yet.
oh,
But-
yeah.
I
yeah,
have the book and I haven't read it yet. I definitely have the book.
It's probably, if not my favorite Star Wars book, in my top 3.
Mhm.
And I've read
Well,
a lot of them.
if you keep up with Marvel and DC, they brought over Sean Gunn or James Gunn from Marvel to DC to kind of head up, kind of be the the Kevin Feige of DC, kind of to take over and everything. And he came out and said simply, "We're replacing everybody. We're starting over. We're redoing everything." And all DC fans are like, "Okay, let's do it. Let's see what happens."
Yeah.
I feel like they could just make an announcement and say, "You know what, guys? We were doing this story with Star Wars. We're going to reset it. We're going to put some new characters, some old characters back in here. We're going to tell a different type story in this particular land that may not resonate with always with the movies. It may not be canon with Empire Strikes Back or whatever, but we're going to tell some different stories in here with some old and new characters." And I think people would go nuts.
Well, and with the 3
you know.
newest movies, with that whole multiverse type thing,
Mhm.
they can open it up where they basically cancel out those 3 movies. They still
Right.
exist in the Star
Right.
Wars timeline, but they go more to Legends, which is what Mark Hamill keeps hinting at. And
Yeah.
and I know Filoni wants to do it. And I mean, it would be genius for Disney, because they made 3 movies that
Mhm.
people didn't really care for, but
Right.
they still made billions of dollars. And then you make 3 more to replace them, and you just get more billions of dollars. No one's going to be
Right.
upset if
Right.
they basically divert that timeline into a
Right.
different area. Just call it something else.
I think fans are more concerned with telling a good story versus everything being perfect. And there will be those that are pick, well, Lando didn't really say that because in this time period, he was over in Mos Eisley. He was on Jakku. That's wrong. Yeah. I think most people, especially the casual fans like Jen, would be like, tell me a good story. I need a Rogue One story. Don't be so
suspension of disbelief. That's what all of theater is suspension of disbelief.
And no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. And, and I'm not one of those guys. You could also want stories.
Love the stories.
A series of movies where at the end of it, Lando comes in and like starts telling people they're putting together a team and to have like Jyn Erso and there's Mando and there's Boba Fett and Kenobi and there's there's Ahsoka from all different regions all come together to make like some sort of Star Wars Avengers.
All of the Jedi come back anyway. They all make appearances. Yoda makes appearances. So I feel like it's plausible. I feel like this is doable.
Yeah. Why not? So,
where's Grogu?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Or as
I'm
Jen
sorry,
called, Baby
he is
Yoda.
still Baby Yoda. He is still Baby Yoda. I can't get behind
She's
the name
one of
Grogu.
those, Derek.
I can't do it. I know his name's Grogu. I know it's not right, but he's Baby Yoda. So that's all.
That's
all.
totally fine.
It is a terrible name. It is a
terrible name. I'm sorry. We could have come with it. Yoda's cute. Grogu is ooh.
Yeah, it should have began with a Y because you have Yoda and Yaddle and.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess Yogu would sound like yogurt.
Yogurt.
This is my brother Froyo. He's much quicker. So I want to talk a little bit, Derek, since you were kind of the expert here on the videography and the pictures and stuff in the parks. What are some tips and things that maybe people don't think about? Everybody wants to walk up and hold their camera, take pictures of the castle. Mm-hmm. What are some do's and don'ts of people that maybe they don't think about to get that great shot, to get that great video? Some little tips and tricks there.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, being respectful of other guests is a big thing for me because also when you start recording yourself, it's super awkward, especially in the parks. Right. And when I first started doing it, my wife hates being on camera and she's like, she does not want to be on camera. She does not want to talk, but I want the stuff. It's my memories. And so the first couple of times I really started to vlog at Disney, I was by myself. And you want to talk about feeling out of place and weird and everybody's looking at me. And the thing is, they really are, but not in a bad way because there's so many Disney vloggers now that are making a living and they're stars in their own rights because of it. But if you are respectful of people, when I'm doing stuff, if I'm really stopping to talk, I'm either doing it while I'm walking or I go off to the side and I find a spot that we're talking about these picture spots. Those make great video spots too. Now, if you have a line of people that is trying to take pictures or whatever, don't clog that up. But get out of the way. There's a million places at Disney to stand, to talk to the camera. Also, whenever you if you're doing slow shots or B-roll, as I call it, or videographer people call it, if you want that really good pan of the castle or things like that, whatever you think is a good speed, slow that down in half. And because I've got so much footage where I'm oh, I'm doing this nice slow pan, I get it back, I'm like, wow, that was awful. Now, and there's more tips. The more FPS you use, a lot of people are going to shoot in 24 or 30, maybe even 60, but now phones and GoPros and a lot of DSLRs are going up to 120 and 240. The higher the FPS, the more you can slow it down in post-production. But let's just talk more beginners. So if you're out there shooting, think about what you want to see. Look at some vlogs, plan ahead a little bit of vlogs or videos that you like. Oh, I really like that they did this. Go do that. You're not copying, you're not stealing anything. You liked their idea. And then also plan out those spots that you want to go to. Don't just walk around and be oh, this is a good spot. And you're going to forget it. I actually make notes either in my phone or I carry a little notepad with me at all times in the parks. And I'll write those notes down. Oh, I almost forgot this shot. I need to go do that. And I think having that clarity will make it faster for you. So you're not just wasting your trip shooting video or pictures.
Smart.
I like that.
That's smart.
So let's talk a little bit about lighting. I know Jen mentioned this earlier for beginners, how to take good video or pictures when maybe the lighting's low, the lighting's bad, maybe you're inside and you're okay using a phone. You're not breaking any rules inside a queue or something like that. Pirates is a great example of, is there a way to get a decent shot on your phone or your camera?
There is. And I do recommend people use their phones. So, GoPros are horrible in dark lighting. They're terrible. But like my last vlog I did of the VIP day that you were in, David,
Yep.
I used a GoPro for almost all of it. And it looks great outside, and it's easy because it doesn't shake. But with your phone, if you're using it, don't use the front facing camera. Use the 3 on the back because those are the best quality. And if you're trying to get those low light shots, practice them at home. You can do that like in a dark room at home, practice and you can go on YouTube and find a million tutorials on your exact phone on how to get good low light settings and save those settings. And then once you get in there, like, you go on the Mexico Pavilion ride and stuff, or different rides that are really dark, or pirates, you can get great shots if you plan ahead.
I like that. I didn't even think about, I don't know why. I wouldn't have thought about like going and doing specialized settings ahead of time. Like it's usually just like, oh, this is cool. Wait, where do I tap to make this look?
Exactly. And that's the thing. A lot of phones are getting better where they're getting smarter, but even still, like, I mean, I could do a whole month class just on setting your ISO and your aperture. And like, that's way over most people's heads. They just want a good shot with their phone. Practice at home. Like just work on it at home. Or if, you're going out at night somewhere, if you're going out to dinner, try to take some shots at dinner where there's low lighting, because you're going to have a lot of those same situations when you go to the parks.
That's true.
One of the things I learned to do as well, and this is actually our agent, Kyla, who told me about this, and it actually is life-changing, because what happens is I will get home with 700 pictures, and some are great, some are not. And then I have to find the time to kind of go through them and edit down a little bit and filter and edit, and it just takes forever. And then I don't do it. And then I'm like, okay, I need a picture of the castle. And a month later, a picture of the castle. There's 17 pictures of the castle. Which one's best? I don't know. So what I've started doing is when I take a picture, I will immediately pull the picture up, even if it like within 30 seconds, and I will hit edit. And all I have to do is hit that little wand. There's for iPhones, and I'm sure for Google phones or something similar, hit a little wand and it'll adjust the lighting, and I can kind of adjust the light from there and hit save, and that's it. It's a 10-second edit on the picture, then it's done, then it's exactly like I want it. So 3 months from now I go back to it. I don't have to remember going, okay, did I want this low light? I don't remember what did I do with this picture. And so I think that's a great little tip for editing. One more thing for people who are maybe not the beginner, obviously not experts, but people who are a little more down the road with doing video stuff and everything on their phones. What are some tips? What are some apps and things like that maybe they could use quickly in the parks to throw in there and do real quick? I know you mentioned CapCut.
Yeah, CapCut is really great for doing like short form reels, shorts, TikTok, things like that. They have an auto cut feature, which pretty much does it all for you. Okay. Now learning how to do some is great as well, but
and that's practicing too at home.
Yeah, CapCut is great. Other than that, like I have a lot of software on my computers that I use or my laptop, so I don't do a ton on my phone, minus doing short form, unless it's just getting the shots, uploading it to Dropbox, putting it on my computer, kind of thing.
Right.
But the number one thing is make sure you have good audio, even if it's with your phone.
Yeah.
Get a microphone, because people will forgive bad video. They'll do it. Don't make it too bad. Like, get it as good as you can.
Right.
People will always forgive bad video, but they will not forgive bad audio.
They'll turn it off.
They'll turn it off. There's a vlogger that I really like. That they're a small channel. They're up and coming, but my age kind of thing, and their content is so good and they're genuine and it's really great. The problem is their video is terrible because they're using a cell phone, and most of the time it's the front facing. I can deal with that, but then their audio is so bad. And I'm like, I kind of want to reach out and be like, I can help you fix this so fast in your channel. And I know like their channel would blow up because they live in Orlando. But, just kind of, again, think about what videos and pictures you like, not just videos too, because you can turn pictures into videos. I do it a lot for B-roll. But get a good microphone, even if it's just one to plug into your phone or into your GoPro or whatever you're using. Have a good microphone.
Love it. Love that. That's awesome. Derek, this has been fantastic. First of all, where can people find you online to see all your work and everything like that? And also, you also do help people, organizations and stuff with sponsorships and things like that. That's something you also do as well. So give us a brief little synopsis on that, and where can people find you with that?
Yeah, you can find me at thederekfrank.com, and that'll show you all my links, all my different stuff that I do. I've had an interesting career where I was artist relations manager for a long time, worked with all kinds of famous musicians, and got some really great experience with that. But now I have my own company, and I do brand deals and sponsorships, coaching for people, but also I do content creation and social media management and strategy for bigger businesses. And that's where, like, business is starting to get to that point where they know they need it. They know it's important. Content marketing is everything. If you don't believe me, look up Gary Vee. He'll tell you as well.
Gravy. Yep.
Yep. But a lot of these businesses are like in that middle zone where they know they need somebody. They can't necessarily afford a full-time person, but they can't afford not to have something happening. And they don't have the time and the resources to do it and learn it. That's where I come in. And it's been really great. It's been a really cool thing. But my big thing is, like, I teach all of my clients how to do everything I'm doing. And people always ask, like, why would you do that? Because then they can do it themselves. Well, here's a great example. I can book my own trips to Disney World. Why do I use travel agents like you guys?
That.
Because my time is worth it. My time is valuable. So if my clients keep getting better and more efficient, I can do the next thing. I can do another level above that. So if I'm not worrying about this low hanging fruit stuff and working on that for them and wasting their time and money, if they can do that, I can do more important things for them and make them grow even more.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
I
Of
love
course,
that.
Jen only heard that you met a lot of musicians, and she wants to know if you met Celine Dion.
Wait a
That's really
minute.
all she wants to know.
So fun story. The guy who produced my album wrote "Where Does My Heart Beat Now."
Oh my gosh, I love that song.
Yeah.
That's
she is
fantastic.
the one. She is the one artist I would straight up fangirl over. I will hold my own with. I would feel like basically anybody, but yeah, nope. Celine, I would fangirl.
when they cut that, she barely even spoke English at all. So, like, they
I
had
remember
to feed
that.
her
This was
every line.
like 91, I think 90 or 91, I believe. It was her
early
album
90s.
Unison, I think.
It's been on every one of her greatest hits, so he's gotten all of that money every time. Like, what is she, like 28
amazing.
number one or greatest hits albums?
Something like
Oh
that.
yeah, she's got a lot.
Yeah. And
Jen's got them all.
He said nothing but incredible stuff about her, so that's great.
Oh,
I'm sure she's wonderful. I'm sure she's in
yeah.
person. I'm sure she's great. Right? Jen knows this story, but my wife went down with her mom and her aunt and her cousin on a girls' trip. This is 2008, 2009, something like that. And they went down for the Christmas party and for the Christmas weekend or whatever. And they were filming the Christmas parade at that weekend or that week that they were there, but it had been raining all day. So instead of seeing Celine Dion in front of the castle, they had her at the Grand Floridian. So my wife was one of many, like hundreds of people. All they could only fit in so many people, all on the railings. And she's 3 floors up, looking down at Celine Dion in the middle of the lobby, performing right there. And Steph's like, it was just, I cannot describe to you how amazing it was. And just, she was like, I was crying or whatever, because, she's 60 yards from Celine Dion. There's Celine Dion right there hanging out and singing. And it was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
All because of the rain. So
now I do have a voicemail on my phone from Steven Tyler. So that's kind of
okay. That's sweet.
nice.
That's awesome.
he was an artist that I used to work with and stuff. So
that's one of the people Brady's always said he would not mind meeting.
Yeah.
I think you should leave a message. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Make it a long message.
The same day I got that message, I got my first ever hole-in-one. So
that was what coincidence?
That's a pleasant day.
Probably not.
it was. I almost went to the casino that day, but I don't gamble. So I was like,
So you
all right.
maybe you should have bought a lotto ticket at least, like something.
I know. But
That's
after,
awesome.
the way on a golf course, if you get a hole-in-one, you have to buy rounds for everybody on the golf course.
Oh, so is that really lucky though?
Yeah, exactly. I spent all my lotto ticket money on buying everybody.
Well, I mean, there weren't that many
Everybody
people at
else.
Winter Summerland at the time, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Derek, this has been fantastic. I have the great conversation, a lot of knowledge here, which is awesome. Love picking your brain about your expertise. If you're accepting interns, we have somebody on our team named Meredith who loves videography and is learning all the time.
Hey.
I actually told her about the conversation I had with you.
Yeah.
And she came back a week later going, CapCut is amazing. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Tell whoever it is you talk to, thank you for this. Is fantastic. And so,
Yeah. Well, and if you guys ever need help with something or you want me to come along on one of your retreats or something, just let me know. I'm always down to hang out.
And you're in Nashville, is that right?
I am in
Okay,
Nashville.
yeah. So you're couple hours away. I need to come up to Nashville, just have lunch or something, which would be cool.
I know.
So I'll do that. Jen, where can we find you online?
Oh, you can find me at Upon a Star Jen. My personal Instagram is at Jen_Novotny. Right now, we're in the middle of crazy season. So, if I'm traveling, you'll see posts. If I'm not traveling, I mean, honestly, watching me work at my desk isn't like super cute, but you might just get a picture of me going like, what?
With the piano. Is she ever going to play that piano? She just sits there and stares at the computer.
Piano.
So,
I do play my piano.
Find me on Instagram at The Magic on a Dollar. Find me on Facebook at Magic on a Dollar and Disney on a Dollar. And of course, you can find us all at uponastartravel.com. And Upon a Star Travel is your code for Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all those fun
TikTok,
places.
all the things.
TikTok and all, especially TikTok. Of course, we're building the TikTok presence. Thank you, Meredith, our social media girl who's doing all that kind of stuff. And of course, Derek at The Derek Frank. 1 R, by the way, Derek Frank. 2 E's and a K somewhere in there. And no, 2 Ks actually. Anyway, .com, trying to be clever. But thank you so much to Derek. Once again, thank you so much to Jen. We will see you guys next week. I'm Dave, and don't forget to video those Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.